Matthew 10:40-42. In Matthew 10, Jesus sends his disciples to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. The chapter unfolds as a commissioning discourse in which the messengers of the kingdom are sent throughout the towns of Israel, announcing that the kingdom of heaven had drawn near. The words of verses 40-42 conclude this section and describe the significance of receiving those whom Christ sent. Jesus declares, "He who receives you receives me, and he who receives me receives him who sent me." The statement reveals a chain of representation. The disciples were not merely independent teachers traveling through the land. They were representatives of the Messiah himself. To receive them was to receive the one they represented, and to receive the Son was to receive the Father who had sent him. Throughout the scriptures, the concept of a sent representative carried great authority. In the same way that a king's envoy spoke with the authority of the throne, the apostles spoke with the authority of Christ. Their message carried the weight of heaven because it was the message of the one sent from the Father. Jesus continues by saying, "He who receives a prophet in the name of a prophet shall receive a prophet's reward, and he who receives a righteous man in the name of a righteous man shall receive a righteous man's reward." In Israel's history, prophets were often rejected, yet those who received them participated in the blessing connected to their ministry. The widow of Zarephath, who received Elijah, shared in the provision of God. The Shunammite woman who welcomed Elisha experienced divine. Receiving the messenger aligned a person with the work God was performing through that messenger. In the same way, those who received the disciples of Christ were identifying themselves with the announcement of the kingdom that was being proclaimed throughout Israel. The reward mentioned here is not the result of human merit, but participation in the blessing connected to the message being carried. Jesus then concludes with a seemingly small act. "And whoever gives one of these little ones even a cup of cold water to drink in the name of a disciple, truly I say to you, he shall not lose his reward." In the culture of the ancient Near East, offering water to a traveler was a gesture of hospitality and acceptance. Here, even the smallest act of kindness toward the messengers of the kingdom was recognized by God. The phrase "little ones" points to the humble position of the disciples. They were not powerful figures in society. They were fishermen, tax collectors, and ordinary men who had been entrusted with an extraordinary message. Yet the value of their mission did not rest in their social status, but in the one who had sent them. By connecting the reception of the disciples to the reception of himself and the Father, Jesus places the emphasis on the divine origin of the message. The kingdom announcement moving through the towns of Israel was not merely a human movement. It was the unfolding of God's redemptive purpose through his Son. The reward spoken of in these verses reflects participation in the life and blessing associated with that kingdom proclamation. Those who aligned themselves with the message shared in what God was bringing to fulfillment through Christ and his sent messengers. Thus, the closing words of Matthew 10 emphasize the significance of the mission. The disciples carried the message of the kingdom to Israel, and how that message was received revealed one's relationship to the one who sent them. Even the smallest act of receiving and supporting these messengers was recognized as participation in the work of God unfolding in that generation.